I'm going to invite right now Christopher, who is right here, to share the screen and start the presentation. Christopher, you have 8 minutes and 2 minutes for Q&A.
Thank you very much. I've started sharing my screen, so I'll begin the presentation. Hello, and welcome to my presentation, Blind Trust, How Making a Device Humanoid Reduces the Impact of Functional Errors on Trust. I'm Christopher Vattheuer, a third-year computer science student, and this is a project I began working on at the start of my second year. So, in recent years, we've seen an emergence of humanoid kiosks, and there's no wonder why. People love them. I love them. The first time I interacted with Pepper, my mind was blown. Pepper was making jokes, moving around, even keeping eye contact. All things I didn't really think were possible. So there's no wonder why businesses also love these humanoid kiosks, because people love them and you don't need to pay them. But the emergence of these kiosks has also raised several questions. When we look at where they interact with people, it's often in places where a lot of money is involved, like banks or even life insurance policy stores, 80 of them in Japan. And when we interact with them, we only see their interface. We know nothing of their implementation. Who's paying for it? Why? Are they just trying to get more money from me? And there's been similar research done on agents manipulating people. For example, Good Robot Design, or Machiavellian, which is a fantastic paper I recommend checking out. And in this, a robot moves around a physical space and tries to manipulate people to get as much work out of them as possible by exploiting their culture. So with the emergence of these humanoid agents, we also have to ask, what are they replacing? And well, in many cases, it's normal kiosks, checkouts, and ordering. So what are the differences? And that leads to the research question. In what ways do people trust humanoid kiosks differently than tablet kiosks? Let's talk about the experiment. So we had a between participants experiment with 39 participants. And participants were told they were there to help test out a restaurant helper agent. When they entered the experiment room, they would either find a humanoid, which is Pepper, or a tablet, which we also called Pepper, fitting giving the restaurant environment. So to test the agent, participants were given a set of questions relating to restaurants, and also taught how to interact with their agent Pepper. Well, it was very simple and very structured. You'd begin with the wake word, okay, Pepper, and then give your query. So for example, for question 1, participants might say something along the lines of, okay, Pepper, how should 5 people split a $125 bill? And to that, Pepper would say, among 5 people, a $125 bill costs $25 a person. Perfect. After completing the first set of questions, participants would then complete a survey based on how much they trusted the agent they interacted with. This is called the multi-dimensional measure of trust. We'll get more into that later. But after completing the survey, participants were then given a second set of questions. And it was during this set of questions where everything went wrong. For 3 of the 10 questions on this set, Pepper would give a wildly wrong answer. For example, on the third question of this set, participants might say something along the lines of, okay, Pepper, how should 2 people split a $35.26 bill? And to that, Pepper would say, among 2 people, a $35.26 meal costs $43 a person. This is wildly wrong, and participants should spot this immediately. And after completing the second set of questions, which have wrong answers in them, participants would then complete a second survey. This now meant we had a survey on the trust with the baseline, no mistakes, and the post-error trust, which we could use to generate results. So let's talk about the results. Well, the survey we used, the multi-dimensional measure of trust, breaks trust down into multiple categories. So you have capacity trust and moral trust. Let's talk about capacity trust first of all. So what is it? Well, it's broken down further into 2 more types of trust, reliable and capable. Reliable trust is trust in the agent's consistency. and capable trust is trust in the agent's skill. Let's talk about the results we saw for capacity trust. Between the humanoid and the tablet, we found a main effect of agent error on trust, where the average trust rating decreased after the agent made a mistake. Additionally, we found a statistically significant difference between the post-error trust of the humanoid and the tablet, where the humanoid had more trust than the tablet. Let's move on to moral trust now, but we did see that the humanoid performed better at retaining trust than the tablet. Now for moral trust, we once again have to ask, what is it? Well, it's further broken down into ethical and sincere trust. Ethical trust meaning the agent is principled, it has integrity, and sincere meaning the agent is authentic, genuine. Let's look at the results. So between the humanoid and the tablet, we once again found a main effect of agent error on trust. Additionally, we found a statistically significant difference between the post-error trust of the humanoid and the tablet, where the humanoid had more trust than the tablet. But we found something weird. We found an interaction. There was no statistically significant difference between the pre- and post-error trust of the humanoid, but there was for the tablet, and the tablet lost trust. This meant that the humanoid did not lose a statistically significant amount of moral trust after making serious functional errors. Let's talk about the significance of the findings now. So not only did we show that the humanoid was able to retain more trust after making serious functional errors across all categories, but we showed that there was no observed impact on moral trust for the humanoid after making these errors. And that's what's so concerning, because we believe users should have a healthy skepticism about the implementation of the agent they're interacting with. We don't know who's made it and what they want from us. And that's what moral trust is all about. It's about the authenticity and integrity of the agent. So when we see that...
Christopher, you have 1.5 minutes, just to let you know. Sorry.
Okay, thanks. So when we see that the moral trust of the agent is undamaged after making these serious functional errors, that's very concerning, because that could leave people vulnerable to being manipulated or even to making mistakes due to trusting an agent too much. And this is heightened by the fact that these agents are now more commonly found in higher stakes environments like banks, hospitals, and schools, where money and even lives are at stake. So these were very concerning results, and it's definitely something that demands future work. But for now, I'd like to thank you for listening to my presentation. Once again, I am Christopher Vattheuer. You can add me on LinkedIn, you can send me an email, or you can check out my page on the HCI website. Thanks for listening. Any questions?
Thank you so much for the amazing presentation. I would like to invite the audience for any questions that you can have for Christopher. Okay, so there is one question in the chat. I'm going to read it for you, Christopher. Can you talk about the risk faced by the participants? How did risk impacted their trust?
Well, so we actually believe that we would like to, well, can I ask what you mean by risk here? Can I ask the participants or the people watching questions back?
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know if the person would. Okay, so the person said usually trust implies risk. So.
Oh, okay. We had participants work through with the agent, and we actually believe that we would want to recreate this experiment with higher risks at the end, where participants may actually lose something if the agent has incorrect answers in the future. But for now, the user was just testing out the agent.
Thank you. There is another question that asks you from Michael, what are some implications for the design of future robots from your work?
I think this was a lot about transparency and understanding the risks of using these humanoid agents for performing tasks. And we need to be aware of this when we're designing things in the future and when we're using humanoid agents and in high stakes environments. So this is about kind of the awareness of using them, but more work could be done on how we can actually prevent and help keep users having an accurate level of trust in their agent. That would be an interesting work in the future.
Great. Just one more question here. Would you consider doing this experiment with the angry or not aesthetically pleasing robot versus an innocent childlike robot?
That is an interesting thing, because Pepper does have like a charm to it. You know, Pepper is cute. I think it could be very interesting to repeat this experiment with different types of humanoids and see how that could actually impact the results. That could be some very interesting future work as well.
I agree. Christopher, you still have some questions on Discord if you want to go there and check them out. I invite all the people to ask questions for Christopher there, number 15. And I'm going to move on to the next presentation now. And thank you so much, Christopher, again.
Thank you very much, everybody.